Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So in this video I have acquired a nice big world map. Along with my trusty bamboo stick, we're going to do a little bit of wandering around the world in this geography-based ASMR video. I'll be doing some soft spoken and dropping into a whisper every now and again. And I'll be doing some map tracing as well, because I personally adore those sorts of videos. So, as I outline lovely Wales, where I am from, and Great Britain. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please click like. It'll be amazing. Thank you so much. And equally, if you're new to the channel, this is your thing, you're digging this, then click subscribe. Okay, I hope you enjoy the video. So I thought it'd be nice to have a little wander around Europe. It's as good a place as any. A good place to start, or whatever I'm trying to say. So I was getting the camera angle right. I noticed something interesting about this map, and it is that Crimea, and this particular map, is marked as part of Russia rather than Ukraine. Normally they do something crazy to discuss Crimea, so yeah, the fact that they've just put it as green, the same as Russia, is interesting. Obviously that's quite controversial, but there we go. Okay, so let's look at Western Europe. First and foremost, we've got Greenland up here. Greenland is, it's not geographically part of Europe because it's not on the European plate. Iceland is sort of whatever, it's like there. But Greenland is it's owned by Denmark, which is there. As was Iceland at one point, and the Faroe Islands. So the Faroe Islands, Iceland, and Greenland are all part of the Kingdom of Denmark, which is curiously quite a small country in comparison to even Iceland, let alone Greenland. So we got Denmark here. So the main island, well, is there, Ceylon, and then I think Slut is the second largest island, and this is the main land. So split into a couple of different areas. Also there's an island all the way over here, which is still part of Denmark. Staying in Scandinavia, we've got Norway, which goes all the way from up here, bordering with Russia, all the way down, and borders with Sweden, and then borders with Finland. So it borders with 3 different countries, and Svalbard is just out of shot up there. And then Finland in blue, and that borders with Russia, and then Sweden borders with Finland and Norway. And I discussed in a previous video the Åland Islands, which are here, which are formerly a part of Finland but are exclusively Swedish speaking. Also a lot of the coast area down here still has a high, I don't want to say a high number, but there are a lot of Swedish speakers in this area. For historical reasons. So we've seen Iceland, let's look at Ireland. So Ireland, taking all of the rain from the Atlantic Ocean for the rest of Europe. You can thank Ireland for absorbing a lot of that rainfall. That's why they call it the Emerald Isle, because it is very green. And in second place, Wales takes it for you, so you can thank us next. So then you've got what we call the United Kingdom, but this island here is called Great Britain. And then just over the water we've got France. So France, very large country in terms of land mass and in population. Next would be Germany, which borders Denmark, we just previously spoke about, but also Poland here, and the Czech Republic there. It also has borders with the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg, which is a small microstate just there. Sorry, I sorted out the blurriness. Blame the cameraman. So the Netherlands, like I said, is there. The Netherlands don't speak German, they speak Dutch. And Belgium is a curious one. It's got 3 official languages. A version of Dutch we call Flemish. So it's a dialect of Dutch. French in the southern part of the country, and in a single area over here, German. Luxembourg is a little more complicated. There is such a language as Luxembourgish, but it's, I think it's a sort of version of German with a little bit of French thrown in for fun. And if we just look to the south and the Iberian Peninsula briefly before we talk about the more complicated area here with lots of borders and lots of things going on. We've got one microstate which is called Andorra, and its official language is Catalan. Then we've got Spain. In fact, there are multiple official languages of Spain. Castilian Spanish, the version of Spanish spoken here, when compared to, say, Mexican or Argentinian Spanish, is just one of them. Others are Catalan, which is spoken here, and that's why Andorra has it as their language, in an area called Catalonia, of which Barcelona is the capital. Gallego, which is a language where Portuguese came from originally, which is up here, in a place called Galicia. Basque, which is in this region here, on the border with France, going over the border a little bit as well, historically. But modern day Basque country is here in Spain, and they speak a language called Basque, and 1 or 2 others, Navarre, for example. And then lastly Portugal, which is out here, and despite only being a little bit more southerly, enjoys very different weather to Ireland. Okay, so we were over here, and we talked about Germany. So I mentioned the Czech Republic briefly. You may have heard of Prague, which is its lovely, beautiful capital. And then we've got Switzerland here. Switzerland actually is another multi-language, multilingual country. So towards one side you've got French-speaking, another German. You've got an Italian-speaking area as well, just here. And there is a further language which is spoken, but not by many people, which is an offshoot of Latin, so it's sort of a cousin of Italian. But unlike the other Latin languages, such as Romanian, it's very difficult to understand for historical reasons. And then you've got, in between Austria and Switzerland, another micro-state called Liechtenstein. Weird fact about Liechtenstein, it has nothing to do with Britain whatsoever, but its national anthem has exactly the same music as God Save the King. Just with German lyrics, talking about someone else. Maybe we should sue them for copyright. And Austria is here. And then you've got Slovenia, just here, which borders with Italy and Austria. Also a point, you may have heard of the term Czechoslovakia, and that was when the Czech Republic and Slovakia were one country, but they've since broken into two, and their languages are almost identical, very similar. Hungary, however, is not in that bracket at all. It has a language which is distantly related to Estonian and Finnish, and is Finno-Ugric, or Finno, whatever, Hungarian, and isn't even a European language. We've got Poland here, with some coastline there. Not here though. I talked about this in the last video I did. This is Kaliningrad, well, the city of Kaliningrad. This is actually Russia. So Russia, although is over here, it also has an enclave here which used to be part of the old Kingdom of Prussia, and now is, yeah, just an enclave. So it is technically still Russia, but you've got to go through at least two countries to get to Russia by land. It is possible, however, in sunnier months to get to St. Petersburg here by sea. And then we've got the Three Amigos up here, part of the European Union. We've got Estonia, which speaks a language that's an old version of Finnish. And then we've got Latvia and Lithuania, who speak, their two languages are related. They were some of the first Indo-European languages to come into Europe from the Indian subcontinent. So they have lots of aspects that we in other languages in the West have lost. Belarus, literally white Russia, Biel, white, and Rus, Russia, white Russia is there. And then of course we got Ukraine here in pink, with its southern coast in the Black Sea. Very cold in winter, very hot in summer. This little country here is a little bit of a phenomenon. So this is Moldova. And I'm going to mention Romania right now because it ties in quite well. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there were 4 areas here. Moldova, which actually covers even a part of the green as well as the yellow. And then Transylvania, you probably remember through Dracula stories, and maybe 1 or 2 others. And after a certain amount of time, after the World Wars I think, they joined to make one, and then part of Moldova broke away as a separate country due to, I think, Soviet alliances. And Moldova speaks Moldovan, which is basically Romanian, but also on one side of the country they speak Russian, and there's even a tiny country which is basically a river which runs through the country, and the banks of the river are an independent, well, a breakaway country called Transnistria. And they basically still think that they are a Soviet state, and yeah, they're pro-Russian, pro-Soviet. So, Romania we talked about, Moldova. My friend confused me because she told me that she was from Moldova, but she meant Moldova as part of Romania. So I said to her, "Oh, do you speak Russian?" She said, "No, just Romanian," and I was very confused. But yeah, so there's a part of Romania here that is also called Moldova, which is a theme, because when we get to North Macedonia we'll talk about that a little bit more. So we talked about Hungary. We did get to Slovenia. Now we've got Croatia, which is giving Bosnia a cuddle. Right around it there. Bosnia and Herzegovina is in the middle. Then you've got Serbia, which is here. Then you've got Kosovo and Montenegro, Albania. And then we've got Greece. This is the mainland part of Greece. And some of the large islands. And Cyprus is down here, and Cyprus is not a part of Greece or Turkey. It's an independent country which is in the European Union. Okay, I just remembered I totally forgot about Italy. I'll come back to Italy. So, okay, so this area here, going from Slovenia all the way down to North Macedonia, was the Yugoslav Republic, and then it broke apart, so we had lots of other countries. Kosovo is still, it has been recognized by some countries but not others. Serbia do not recognize it, Russia do not recognize it, and curiously Spain do not recognize it either, partially because they had, I think it's something to do with an independence referendum, and they broke away from Serbia, and Catalonia tried to do the same thing from Spain, and Spain said no. So I think they're not recognizing it for their own reasons. Yeah, so North Macedonia is here. Now, North Macedonia used to be called Macedonia, or the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. And it got into trouble with Greece, because this northern area of Greece here is called Macedonia. I think it's Macedonia in Greek. And I think it's where someone very famous comes from, like Alexander the Great, maybe. And they were like, you can't call your country Macedonia, we are Macedonia. So after years of arguing and political tensions, North Macedonia said, would it be okay then if we changed our country's name to North Macedonia, so that you are the only Macedonia? And they said, Greece said, yeah, that's cool with us. So now we're all best friends again. And lastly, Bulgaria, which is here, just on the Black Sea. And it has a tiny little pink here, which belongs to the large country of Turkey. Now, fun facts about Turkey. Turkey is in Asia, but this part is in Europe. And the two parts have a tiny, tiny little strait of water. So you can get from the Mediterranean into the Black Sea. And one city is built here, and it crosses both sides of the European side and the Asian side. So not only is the country split into two, but the city itself is split into two. And that city is Istanbul, which isn't the capital of Turkey. It was the capital when it was called Constantinople of the Ottoman Empire, I believe, but it's not the capital of Turkey. But it is the largest city in terms of population and size. Okay, I missed Italy, so Italy is here. Italy with its famous boot. Then we got two islands here. This island is Corsica, that actually belongs to France, but they do speak a language which is, I don't know, an Italian language really. And Malta, you probably can't even see it, is a tiny island which is off the coast of Italy. About 25% of the population speak Italian, and Maltese is the other language, and English, because it was part, I think Britain had it for a while. And because Malta is in the European Union, and Maltese is actually an old form of Arabic, which has close relations to Tunisian Arabic. It's like Arabic written in the Latin alphabet with lots of Italian words in it. And it's the only only official language of the European Union that is Semitic. It's a Semitic language like Arabic and Hebrew. So yeah, fun facts about Malta. Also, it's a lovely place. So, have I forgotten anywhere? We did all these countries. There's Svalbard, incidentally, which is part of Norway. Svalbard is this weird place that you can go to from any country in the world and live there as long as you have a job. So you can't just move there. But you, there's some rule like you don't need a visa or something. You can just live there. You just need to get a job first, and the only things you can do are like Arctic research and stuff like that. Rather bizarrely, however, it's so far north that it does have the issue of being dark at 24 hours a day for about 6 weeks or 2 months in the winter time, and light all day long in June, I think it is. But also, it's a completely wild island, and if you live there, you can't. You can't basically get around much. You just have to work, and there's like a street, and if you walk your dog, you've got to look out for polar bears, and yeah, it's quite dangerous. But the other weird thing about Svalbard is that you cannot, if you're ever. So most people who live there are like sort of 20s, 30s, university sort of scientists. But if you were to die there for some reason, you cannot be buried. You have to be flown away. And the weird reason for this is because the ground, because it's so northerly, is in a state of permafrost. And not only would your body never decompose in the ground, but during the time of the Black Plague, they buried bodies there. And because they've not decomposed, and because they're preserved in the cold temperatures, they don't know where they were buried, and if they were to come across them whilst burying another body, they could technically catch bubonic plague, and we'd start all of that nonsense again. So, and billions of people would die. So you cannot be buried in Svalbard. Obviously, if I've said anything incorrect and you know better, then please tell me in the comment section, but that's my understanding of the situation. Okay, I did forget one microstate, which is around here-ish. Maybe two, actually. One here, just kind of where it says Croatia, on the on the Italian peninsula. It's San Marino, and it's one of the richest countries in Europe. Monaco, similarly, is in France there. And in Rome, here in Italy, we have the Vatican City, which is considered to be a separate country. And it's literally a couple of buildings, but it has to be for legal reasons, not under the control of the Italian government, but instead its own entity. Because if Italy were to, remove religion from the national charter, then Vatican would have to have some sort of protection from that, I guess. That's my interpretation anyway. Honourable mentions go to the states here, the countries here, of Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Technically they're part of Asia, but they often get grouped in with Europe for lots of things, such as football qualifiers for the World Cup and Eurovision. And Kazakhstan also qualifies. So it plays in the European Champions League and has played in the group stages before. The reason it can do this is because the European plate stops around there. Because because the Ural Mountains are the joining point between the two continents of Asia and Europe. Although arguably you could say this is all one called Eurasia, but we won't talk about that today. So let's say the mountain ranges here. This part of Russia is therefore European Russia. And because this slip of land here within Kazakhstan is over that border, they used to play in Asia, and they decided they were going to start playing in the much more profitable European Champions League, and also try to qualify for a World Cup in Europe. So they, because of this bit of land here in this massive country of Kazakhstan, a little bit of it is over the mountain range, they can officially qualify, as can these countries, for obvious reasons. Okay. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this ramble and random facts and figures and map tracing. If you have, then please drop me a like and a comment of if you want to add to any of the things I've said, or correct me. I'm happy to be corrected, do not worry. And then next time maybe we'll take a look at Africa, and we'll have a look at the Americas and Asia in a separate video. Okay, I'm so glad you made it this far in the video. Thank you so much.